The very last thing on this print actions page now is the new printer settings and the deleting and restricting of the editing of those fields. After that, we've finally completed the entire print actions page in every way, and it's a fully working application for that page at that point. So let's just wrap this up. One of the first things I want to tackle is, since we changed the database to pull in the printer names and all these other things, and instead of using a random ID, we reuse the name, they don't correctly bind anymore. It should be a simple fix. All we'll have to do is go into the printer services, and here we are. So when we do these IDs, we no longer need indexes, so we can just cut the index away and then replace the name and ID with the identical field. And then the same for all these others. So the defaults, instead of just being 0, can just be the name repeated. Get rid of the index again, and then swap this out for the name. And we can even review if we need to do this at all. Like, do we need to have a key value pair, or can we store a string? But I believe at the time when we did this, we did need the key in order to do the binding correctly. So let's just see if that fixes it first, and then let's try and see if we can refactor this to not even need a key value pair. So if we go into actions, edit, hopefully they're all back now. Oh, not quite. So we still aren't binding yet. If we do new settings, you can see the new settings has worked. So it's something to do with the existing one. I wonder if that's just something that was already stored. No, so it's something to do with the stored settings here. So it's going to be in this edit printer settings. Let's just see if we can figure out what's going wrong. So it's when we edit the settings, we get the profile view model, printer profile settings, they're all in here. So the first thing is, yes, we do have all the key value pairs set. So we're getting the zeros again. So if we go into this one, there we go. So the default values we pull in here for these are wrong. Let's just fix these up. And then again, these I think need to move to a service and not just buried inside the view model. These defaults definitely shouldn't be buried in the view model, but we'll pass that off at another point. I think that's all the defaults in there sorted. So in the database service, when we make a default print settings, which will be in get print settings, I believe, we set everything to default except printer name. And because that can also be default, we'll set it there. And then if we delete and tab in and out, it should then work. So if I just run this to wipe the database and now rerun, we should see that that gets recreated correctly. Now if we go to actions, edit, still no. We can see the database actually has the entries correct now. So that is correct and should show. You can see we do actually get the printer name now. So why is it not binding? We've got one of these left somewhere, 0 in default. So we must still have somewhere we forgot and done. There we go. Where's this in? Available printers, we've made a default printer at the top and we forgot to do that there. There was a few bugs in there. And let's see if this now finally works. So into actions, edit the default, run through. There we go, finally. We need to arrange this as well, I think, alphabetically by default, because that's quite annoying. So in the actions page view model, I think it is this one, when we fetch now the values from the database, we can arrange them by name. So say here, when we fetch printer settings, settings.select. Before that, we'll do settings.order by, so the database does the sorting for us, which is much quicker than us doing the sorting. We'll arrange that one by name. Printer setting profiles, we'll do the same. We'll do an order by, let's call it profile so it stays the same. Profile.printer name. No, it's not printer name, is it type? That's it. And then in the fetch print list, we'll do the same. We'll organize the print list as well. So we'll do .order by job name. And that's everything then sorted in alphabetical order. So now this list will be in alphabetical order. So if we do A, save, tab out, tab in, it's now alphabetical order. This will be the same. I'm not sure whether we've got a save on this yet. Don't think we have. No, so we can't create ones yet. We've got to do that. But if we edit, you can see this is now in alphabetical order as well, the types in here. And these will be when we come to be able to actually add these values and save them. So while we're thinking on that, this delete doesn't work. So let's just make the delete code function. So that's here. We need to get rid of the to-do and then delete from database. So what we'll do, similar to the print list, we'll say if the UI decides to delete it, then we'll do database.delete print settings. In here, we need to do the Boolean return, similar to the other, and return true when we actually click to delete. So basically just here. And then I think that should be all we need to do to have the delete work. And of course, we won't really see this happening until we do the save as well, because the default in here, if we delete it, even if it works, when you tab out and in, that's going to get re-added by the code. So we won't know. We need to now make this new print settings actually work on the save. So that will be new print settings. In here, we remove once new confirmed dialog is pulled from database. So restore state, show dialog if we cancel, otherwise we add. So at this point, we need to save to the database, which will be add print settings, and then confirm dialog dot to data model. Have we done that yet? No. So we need a to data model on this print settings view model. So to data model. And like the other ones in here, we will now do a return new, and then we can simplify this after. ID equals ID. So that's all of the properties. Now the lists for the printer settings profiles. We need to also do a to data model. So we'll do this, and then what we need is an extension method inside of course, that didn't work. Inside of this view model here, we will just make another class. So I'm going to put extension methods for the view models inside of the same class, just for simplicity. So public static printer setting profile view model extensions class, and then public. We'll do a list of printer setting profile or print settings profile data model to data model. And then inside of here, we can say this, and it will be an observable collection typically. So we'll do observable collection of the printer view models. And now in here, we can return a new list of those. And inside of the print settings view model, we will want to do, or in fact, we don't do that way. We do print setting profiles, which is the list, and then select. And inside of here, we can now do to data model, which this also doesn't have. And that means then that this view model, the print settings profile view model, needs it as well. So we need another helper. Again, that needs to be static to be an extension method. Public static, and now finally the print settings profile data model to data model from the view model. So this will be a helper method for converting an entire list of data models, which just calls in and invokes the inner call here, which can now return a new print setting data model, which we'll fill in a minute. That's just one for now. In here now, this should work, which returns the to data model, and it wants a list, so that would then be to list. Now in here, if we fill out the rest of them, and you can see here, this will want to be the values. These are complaining they could be null, which, why do we make them nullable? There's always going to be a default option at least. So let's just remove that because that's definitely not what we want now. We made those two nullable for some reason at some point. And then we have now the printer settings data model. It doesn't have a data model on the data model. Oh, it does, yeah. So that's actually, that one doesn't want to be set because that's the parent link. So that's fine. And same with the ID. So that will be the full to data model. That will be the extension for the list. So now if we go back to where we were before we did all that, we now have a to data model extension here, which calls into this helper, which calls into this helper, which converts them. Now we have that bit done. Let's just scroll up. We've got the design time data here, which I've put to do pull from database, but we can't pull it from database during the design time at the minute because we don't really pass through the database service. We might be able to, but let's just leave that one for now. That doesn't matter for design time. Here's the proper one though. So we do want to remove this because this is when you're actually running the application. And then here, instead of doing design time data, which sets the print settings profiles, we want to do this by pulling in the database. So we'll have to pass it in here. Database service. And now we should be able to consume it here. Then we get printer settings profiles, and do we have .to data model? No, so now we need the to data model on these as well. Yep, so now we need to do what we've done for the other one, but in the print settings view models. So we've done a single one, and now we need an extension method to do the list. So similar to the other class, we actually moved this out to the extension method. So let's do the same here. Let's do a public static class print settings view model extensions. Then in here, paste this, make this static. To data model this, and then print settings profile. This wants to be view model. And now we want the public static, and then to view model. And then inside of here, we can now do view model, which is actually view models, to data model. So we'd have to do .select. So with that, it should be okay. What's it complaining about now? Does this need f.to data model? I didn't think we'd have to do that. Yep, there we go. And then in here, to data model is now this. Why is this asking for a view model? We do it here, so in the fetch print settings. And what this is doing is converting a list of data models into view models by doing this. So this code here, we actually want to cut out and make into a helper instead of doing it directly in here. So for that, we can do a new observable collection of this. So we'll cut that out. And then in settings, we want .to view model. And we'll make this, again, an extension method. We'll call this one to view models, actually, because it's going to be multiple. And this wants to be in the print settings view model. So in here, we have the extension classes. The single is to data model. The plural should actually be to data models. And we'll fix that on this one as well. So we'll put plural. And then below this, we'll have another extension method. And we want it to return an observable collection of view models to view models. And it gets passed in a list of print settings profile data model. So we passed in a list of print settings profile data model. And then from that, we can select on the item, and on the individual items, we want again to view model, which, as you've guessed it by now, is going to be another helper. So another public static print settings profile view model to view model, and then that will be in here. So now we have the new observable collection. We don't need that. So in here, and we've done to view models, we want to cut all this. And there should be the helper method to view models. That's not showing. A list of print settings data model. So we need the top end as well. This is getting quite complicated now. The print settings view model. In here, we have to view models. Oh yeah, so this should work, it's just not appeared yet. Return new printer settings profiles dot select, or in this case dot order by dot select, and enumerable, that's wrong, that should be a list. Let's just comment this out. I think this is screwing up IntelliSense. And then this shouldn't have a problem doing this, but we are returning, or we need to return an observable collection. So we should probably just do return new observable collection and then pass in this. Print settings view model. So why is this complaining about this? This is literally normal and correct. We've got the wrong type in here, that's why. Print settings view model, and then a list of print settings view models. That should be data. We'll call this data models as well, make it a bit clearer. And maybe all these errors of partial done things are the problem at the minute. So this one, we can't pass it in like this because we've got a constructor we need to do something with. So we'll have to cut that out, have a private database service here, pass this in here. That will get rid of that. Let's just try and get rid of these errors first because IntelliSense is definitely not happy. We have two data models here, which passes in a list of data models. That's backwards again. If it's two data models, it's from view models. Call that view models. Yeah, we've got this a bit mixed up here. Select on the view models and do to data model. I don't know how we managed to mess all that up there. That's that one fixed. This to view model, let's just finish this off while we're in here. Again, we've passed in a view model. I think I've done a bit of copy and pasting here and not noticed what I was doing. Data model, return new, view model, and then in here, we can now set everything up. And that's all of them set. So let's just go a bit slower here and make sure we're not making more mistakes. We have the extension method on this one. It's got a to data model, and then it probably wants to data models, which we have here. So let's move that one up so they're in order. And then we have a to view model, and we'll want to view models. Let's just do the code that we know is coming anyway. So we have both extension methods for both ways around. If we want to view models, they're going to be an observable collection because they always are. So that wants to be an observable collection of those, and it will be passed in a view model, will it? Because we're going to use the helper method in here. No, it'll still be a data model. So that one is going to be a list of data models. That will be data models. Data models.select, and to data model, it wants to be to view model. And then this will want to be new observable collection with that passed in. Right, that's better. So we know we have, oh, that should be view model. So a new observable collection of, oh yeah, that one there as well, view model. Now we can use a simplified version. I always thought you could do this as well, not having to specify F or brackets, but yeah, it's working now. So yeah, IntelliSense is just throwing us in a loop with all the partial built code. So we have the to view model, to view models, to data model, to data models. So we've got all those in that. We should have probably just done that per one instead of bouncing between them all. So that's the print settings profile view model. Now let's go to the print settings view model and do exactly the same. So in here we have the to data model, which is correct, to data models, which passes in view models, selects on them, does to data models, Why does that one not work? It's not working on this one. So I'm going to leave that one in and presume this will also fix itself after. And then we have 2 view models, and we need 2 view model as well. So we'll want above this public static print settings view model to view model. And here we'll return a new view model. And inside of here, we do all this again. Right, why have we got this? So where we want to do a new view model, this would now need a database service in here to correctly generate the view model, because the view model wants these profile settings. So I don't think this is going to be the best place to do it. It's certainly viable, but let's just get rid of this for now. And let's just put a little to do here. To do, think of a better place to do this. And we'll just come back to that. Now in here, we've got the print settings profile data model by mistake, not data model. Name equals data model, not name. There we go. And off we go again, copying all these properties over. And that's all the settings. The only one left is the printer setting profiles. And what we've just done is this. So we could have just copy and pasted this bit over, which means we could actually take this bit as well and go back into here. And we can do this. And then that will be data model, is it? New observable collection, data model dot printer profiles. There we go. And then we order by and select, and this is the view model conversion. And now this is getting closer. So now we have the data models dot order by, which is still complaining, which again, still shouldn't complain. There we go. It's because we had the wrong data model passed in. So to view model on the print settings view model is correct. We pass in a list of print settings, and then there's the problem again. Print settings profile data models. And this is then a new collection, data models, order by. There we go, now we're correct. And then on this, instead of making a new print settings view model, we can just call into here the to view model, which should invoke this call here. So that was quite messy. We went down a rabbit hole there. We still have this complaining, which shouldn't be. Let's just see if we can figure out this now. So this can't be inferred from usage, but this might be the clue here. This is ambiguous between the 2 properties, extensions to data models and print settings view model extensions to data models. So have we done it twice somewhere? Print settings profile view model, print settings view model. Well, how is it ambiguous when one's a list of print settings profile view model? Because this is wrong again here as well. There we go. So we've made some typos doing this, I can tell you that. Right, there we go. I think we're good to go. So we have all of the conversions to data models and to view models. But that was that messy when we've done it. I can't remember what we were even doing before this now. And I think this is where we were up to, if I remember rightly. When we opened up the new dialog, we were trying to fill out the print settings profiles. That's where we were. So now we can finally do database service dot, and it's not get printer settings, it's get printer setting profiles, and then 2 view models. There we go. That's what we were trying to do all the way through. And now if we go to actions and do new, there we go. That's all we were after. So on the pop-up of new, we now populate it with all these values that come from the database. Landscape, checked, automatic, tray. Let's save that. So we can now save, but can we now delete? So if we do delete, I think we did all the code for this already. We just want to see if it's working. Yes, it is. So there we go. We've got a new printer settings with some text. We make another one. Printer settings 2, save. Oh, an instance of this cannot be tracked because another instance with the same key ID already exists. Is that because when we do this, we are setting an ID to blank? Design time data, it's not that. ID is blank. So yeah, we've got no ID when we are adding as opposed to null. So I think the solution to that is maybe even a null on the string is possibly the answer. to the auto generates. Let's see if that works. And we go to actions, add, call this 2, save, and its ID is null. So that's also not auto generating. So print settings data model. Oh, we don't do the auto generated key yet. That's why. It's something that we want to do eventually, so we don't have to keep specifying keys. That was it. So like we're doing this, we're just going to have to do this on the other one for now. So then the issue becomes when we are making this new value as a view model and then converting it to a data model, the data model's ID gets overridden. So you can see why we really want to get this in a database. So for now, I'm just going to do this. But that's something we need to address soon, because this is going to start becoming quite problematic to bury these ID generations everywhere. And I think it's also probably time to start doing some real bug checking and potentially error catching, because there's going to be bugs in this. That's now working. Tab in, tab out. So there we go. We can now create multiple entries. We can delete them. We can come in and out and it all works. But I feel there's going to be bugs in quite a few places now. And click save, edit again. That's all working. Let's try Wondershare A4 save, edit. That works. Tab in, tab out. That's lost all its settings. So that didn't take long to start finding some bugs that we need to really hunt down. Looking in the database, we haven't actually saved anything by the looks of it. So hopefully it's as simple as that, that when we've clicked save, we haven't actually saved anything. So that will be in the actions page print. We add new, we inject, we show the dialog, and then we add print settings. No, so it should be, oh, so that's add print settings. So the edit print settings won't be doing the correct thing. That's what it is. So we need the edit print settings. Here we go. There we go, to do past the logic. So we just haven't done it yet. We open all this, copy over to do database stuff. So in here again, commit the view model back to there, and database service dot edit update. That's it, update printer settings. And it will be the copied view model. Dot to data model. And that should now do the save. So hopefully that was the only issue. Go to actions, edit, change this to OneNote tabloid, Wondershare legal, save, edit. They're still in there as they are, but when we tab out, tab back in, there we go. But we have a problem with paper size. The drop down isn't updating. So there's one bug. That's when it equals this. So it's here. So it's inject printer details. This gets fired. When we go to actions and edit, this is where we seem to be missing the options. This comes in, gets the view models. The printer name options are correct. Ah, no, there we go. So we set the printer name options and then we fire off, and on property changed, we then do this. So what we need to do is also run here, force a printer name change for initial list. And for that, we'll just do printer settings item.printer name equals, and then presumably we can just reset it with the same one to fire an event, but it might just not fire because it's not technically changed. It's the exact same name. But we will see if this works. If not, we could potentially toggle it from null and then back to the name. No, it's not firing, as I suspected it might not. So var name equals store the name, and then printer settings item equals new key value pair, and then set it back to the name. Instead, what we probably want to do for ease is to have inside of this, is we'd want to expose on property changed, so we can actually tell it to change property. Now the observable object will already have the property events and these, but you can see they're protected and we want to expose them so we can fire a property changed. So in ViewModel base, let's just do another public void on property changed. And then we can invoke the on property changed internal. And we'll call this one raise on property changed, so it's more obvious. And then we can inline that. So we're just going to expose this protected virtual up as a public now. That will do the same as what we're doing here. So instead of having to toggle and change everything, instead now, all we can do is delete all this, call raise on property changed, name of printer settings item.printer name. So that now should force the ViewModel to reevaluate that, which should fire into this property changed event. And hopefully, if we've done this well, we are finally going to have it working. There we go. And now the default, you can see, has automatically lost these values. And I suppose that's because technically it's correct. When we do a default printer name, we don't provide default options for tray and paper size, and we always should. So what we'll do after it's created the list, we'll just say printer settings item dot paper size options dot insert, and we're going to put first, so it's 0, and then we'll have a new key value pair of default. We'll do that for the source tray as well, so they've always got defaults, and then that should now work and have defaults even when it's default. So we go to here, click edit. There we go. Now we're back to working. So if I say we're back to working, this actually loaded the right settings. A4 tabloid, save, edit, no. So back, forward, click, edit. So it's not binding to the right size still. And that's likely going to be because when we change the printer name, we're then automatically forcing the default back to here. So I know what we need to do here to handle both situations. What we need to do is say, if the paper size is already existing in the options, then use that, because it might already exist when you change between printers. Printer settings item dot paper size options dot any, and if there are none where the value equals the printer settings item dot paper size. Oh, in fact, we don't even need to do value. We can just compare the key value pair. So we can say then, we cut all of that, and then say if not any. So if there's no matching values, then we set it. That's what we want. And then in this case, we're only overriding if the options can't be found. And then let's run this and give this a check. And that now works. And we have a double default. So I think what we'll do is, that's working enough now. And we've clearly got some bugs. So what we'll do is look for specific bugs in the code and do a kind of bug fixing session, because this has gone on long enough now. We've got the functionality we want, but we've still got quite a few bugs to handle. So that's it for this one, guys. I'll catch you in the next.